Hello, everybody. Dealing with the what is a screw up on my end? I think where I accidentally set the stream ahead of time to be through a service software thing and not directly from the webcam. So I'm going to go ahead, shoot on over to the other stream. I think if it's still up, and fix that unless it's currently ongoing right now. We've got people popping up here. I apologize again for this. I am, as I have claimed to be before, not technologically illiterate, but this is not as intuitive as I would hope in terms of starting and stopping the streams. So this is the, let's see if is there any way I can pop into the other thing? Go live, I'm already going live. I'm gonna have to go into the other one. Post the link to this. So, greetings. Glad to see people are making it in. A lot of people. Great. Excellent. I have been this whole week has just, hi, let's read. Hello again. Yeah, you are in time for it. I am about to, today's been crazy. I'll get into just this whole week has been crazy. Thank you. This is my favorite hat. I literally wear it everywhere. I'm going to go get some eye drops because the house is so dry right now, even with all the containers I spray, to keep up on hydrating that. Got something to hydrate the ear, the rest of the body, some food. So I will be right back. Whew. Whew. Yeah, so despite I spray everything multiple times a day, especially in this room with the mantids and phasmids and whatnot, and even in the basement, usually get sprayed once a day, all the tanks with all the roaches in them and other things. And currently, actually, Will is downstairs finishing up some work. He's going to pop in a little bit and say hi, maybe talk about some stuff that's going on with him. Yeah, I need a human-sized hydration station. I need one of those fans. I have a fan here because usually during the daytime it's been getting in the upper 80s in here, and then when the lights shift off, it goes back down. I need one of those fans that sprays like a little bit of water, like they have for people who go walking or sporting events or whatever. So yeah, today's been crazy. Last couple days have been crazy. Last week has been crazy. Orders, stuff coming in, some disappointing stuff coming in, some what were the exact amazing stuff coming in, blah blah blah. It's just been the whole slew of different things happening. So yeah, decided to supplement my current plants with extra plants. It has helped slightly with the dryness. Yeah, like I said, everything gets sprayed. That's the first thing I do when I get up usually is I come in here and I spray down some stuff. Then I spray again at like lunchtime and then spray again after that. So I'm going to go ahead and be gross and eat because it's been a long day. And as I said, Will is actually still downstairs taking care of some stuff. So if you hear weird noises coming from somewhere else, it's either Will or Victor, who's currently outside watching the chickens. So in general, oh boy. If anybody was in the live stream with Aquarimax last night, we were talking about communal enclosures. It was supposed to be a roach discussion. Very quickly shifted to being an isopod discussion. Not that I can complain about that per se. Again, things are so intimately tied with my husbandry and whatnot. So, but just a lot of stuff going on at the same time here, and it's been a bit tricky to keep track of. I have an expo the Michigan Reptile Expo on Saturday, so I've been getting ready for that. And I've given up on predicting what people are going to want. Some days I bring a bunch of roaches and nobody wants them, or some days I bring like two. I guess last time it was like 10 roaches and everything sells. And some days people want this and they ask for this and they don't want to buy it. And then somebody comes by and they want all this. And I've just given up trying to predict. I just bring a bunch of whatever I think is cool stuff nowadays. So, yeah, so it's been an interesting week. Was trying out some people who can collect various things in Florida and whatnot, and trying to find people who will go out and catch stuff because I can't be running off to Florida every 2 weeks to follow my whimsies. And I won't name names because things are still in flux, but I received one of the boxes, very disappointing. So I was quite upset about that, and currently trying to work things out with that person. We'll see how that goes before I raise any sort of a stink. Alan disappearing off to Alabama every 2 weeks or something. Let's be positive, though. Let's talk about what Alan has collected today. He went out collecting what he thinks is cold in Alabama, which is probably like 40 or 50 degrees compared to 20 here. But Alan went out collecting because this is the best time of year to find them because they're immature and they kind of group up a bit. And they're slow because of the temperature. Courcinera texensis, which is the other species of United States Courcinera. There might even be three. We found a really weird big roach in 69 is cold. No, it's not, Alan. No, it's freaking not. It's like 20 here and I'm wearing shorts. But yeah, we found that big, weird, unidentified adult male roach in Redlands, Florida, that looked like a giant Courcinera. And when Alan and I both started like, what the heck is this? Like, it looks like nothing that has ever been recorded from Florida. Going to Southwest Florida, what should I look for in December? Anything. I mean, as long as it seems like from the people I keep in touch with in Southern Florida, it's all dependent on how the time of year with the weather that day. So if you get a nice warm day, all kinds of stuff will be out. And if it's cold, a lot of stuff's going to be hiding or not. You won't come into contact with it. But also Southwest Florida. Let me look that up because every time I've gone to Florida, Southeast Florida, well, I guess it's because the east coast of Florida is all built up. Probably would assume because it's more favorable there for weathering hurricanes or whatever versus the West Coast, which seems to be less, at least in the southern part. That's Everglades National Park. Not like they ever stopped anybody. But yeah, could be anything. People don't seem to go bug collecting in Southwest Florida much, so who knows what could be there. I mean, Southeast Florida is just a cesspool of introduced and native species of things. But any roaches, the weather's good. Both coasts of Florida have. This time of year seems to be a good time of year to collect them and see them is the Caribbean giant katydids. Seems to be their season, even though they don't have a diapause or anything like that. It seems like this is the time of year where there's a ton of adults everywhere. Naples, yeah. Let me look up exactly where Naples is. I just saw it as I was perusing the map I had pulled up. Fort Myers, Cape Coral, blah, blah, blah. It'll probably pop up. Oh, all the way down there, yeah. That far south, who knows what you could find. Naples Zoo, all this fun stuff. Botanical garden. Oh, yeah, just keep your eyes out for anything weird, anywhere you can just poke around for a bit, look for roaches and whatnot. Alan says, question of parasites found in Naples. And vinegaroons, interesting. Oh yeah, because they're on the west side of Florida too. I always forget that. I always figure that they are kind of restricted to the Sand Ridge and the East Coast. Bigger is better if it's the size. Jeez. Yeah, that's like the size of a small dog with 6 legs. That's almost the size of some of the lubbers down there. Florida's, well, I guess Florida's got a lot of good bugs, Scolopendra alternans and whatnot, of larger size ones. I was going to make the bold claim that Arizona had bigger bugs overall, but no, like Florida's got Scolopendra alternans and katydids and whatnot. Yeah, vinegaroons. It's Mystigoproctius floridanus there, and this is all recently split. And the big ones from Texas, parts of New Mexico, are Mystigoproctius giganteus, the one that everybody's used to, and then further west into Arizona is that third species, Tohono, is it? Mystigoproctius Tohono. Yeah, Tohono. So that was all within the last, let's see if there's any notes on when this was done. 2018? Yeah. So I definitely support that. I support that revision and the split based on geography. And apparently, Alan says it's the spines and the pedipalps. Mm-hmm. Oh, they didn't give status to the New Mexico and Texas ones yet. How that's crazy because the Gigantes and Texas ones were the ones that were everywhere, but I guess they couldn't get locality data from the wholesale collectors and whatnot. Boy, has USPS been doing some wonky stuff. The labels this last week, boxes have been saying they've been shipped and held and not arrived and all this other weird stuff. Oh, Alan says true giganteus was apparently a Mexican species. I have, other than the knowledge that Florida and Arizona now this new knowledge that the Texas and New Mexico species haven't even been formally categorized. That's the extent of my vinegaroon taxonomy knowledge. So. Very interesting. I'm trying to think of what else has been occurring here this week. Just the rush to get orders out. It took Will and I 2 days to do packing and shipping and emails and stuff. Keeping the site updated, put up the manted inventory, which, depending on how things go, the next couple hours might be out of manteds pretty soon, as crazy as that is. Doing some culture maintenance. My Harlequin roaches are not looking the best, unfortunately. I'm wondering if they wanted more moisture, something like that. Colonies just sort of been they've been eating the egg cases too, which made me suspect that maybe they needed more moisture because they had plenty of dog food and fish fillet. I rolled out the red carpet for them in case it was dietary related. Yeah, but they're still persisting. And there's that one person at Island Reptiles who has very good luck with breeding Stylopiga. He probably still has his colony. He's who I got this set from, or got the set that created this colony from. But with Jihu's information, Ellen's friend Jihu, who currently lives in Hawaii and is fighting all kinds of amazing roaches, that he will be able to legally send us in the spring, I believe. So we're going to be seeing a bump of some new localities of different roaches, as well as some new species, and Melanozosteria, whatever that species was. So Polyzosterini is one of my favorite subfamilies of roaches. That's the one that has all the fancy Australian cockroaches, that Polyzosteria Mitchellii or whatever. All the ones that people have been fawning over for decades from Australia. Those are all Polyzosterine roaches. And then, interestingly enough, we have Polyzosterines in North and South America. It goes back to ancient history of Pangea and those all being connected, which is why there's Polyzosterine roaches in Australia and also North and South America, because they must have evolved there before the continents split, and then now we have their representatives on all three of those continents. But anyways, so in North America, we have several Eurycoda species. I don't think is there any North American genera that are Polyzoster other than Eurycoda? So I'm going to look into the cockroach species file, see what it says. Yeah, I guess they range into Southeast Asia too, which would explain why there's Melanozosteria in Hawaii. You've probably been transferred around by whatever means. Is it Melanozosteria? I don't want to keep saying it. Look like a big old dummy. Yeah, Melanozosteria. Can't really see which genre are found on which continents, but yeah, the distribution is such. So we have Eurycoda, which we have all of our different species of, and our localities of Floridana, which is the only endemic Eurycoda to the United States. Maybe could make an argument for Lixa, since there's not really a direct record of them being introduced. They could have gotten there on their own somehow, kind of like how Rutella and Gryllus assimilis, Rutella formosa and Gryllus assimilis are probably natural inventive species from further south. Whereas the only this is we'll have another Polyzosterine roach. It'll be an old world Polyzosterine, which will be our first old world. No, because Dryma plumita has been cultured on and off. So it would be our second old world Polyzosterine cockroach in the United States culture. Yeah, that makes some sense. Anyway, so it's cool because, like I said, I love that subfamily because they're quirky and special adaptations and all that kind of stuff. And of course, also because we have one definitive United States endemic species of Eurycoda or Polyzosterine, so I love that. Anyway, so those, and Diploptera punctata, or maybe minor, whatever. Melanozosteria Nova Zealandia. Yeah, it's interesting if the type locality is in New Zealand. Oh, that's right. Thank you for reminding me, Alan. The Melanozosteria, those were in for a while. I think you had worked with those, and then you sent some to me, and they didn't do well. Hi, Nicole. Good to see you. The Reptikid. Okay, I'll try to remember. Try so hard to remember different usernames and stuff. I will do my darn diddliest to keep things straight. So yeah, so we haven't had many old world polyzosterines, and of course everybody wants all the melanozosteria and polyzosteria from Australia, but chances of us getting those are continually low, and also due to apparently difficult to culture. There's some notes in the Roaches of Australia book on them talking about how they're difficult or something. I don't really buy into that. I think they're not doing something. They're overlooking something very simple because Eurycotus are very simple under other than Opaca, but I think we got those figures. There's something quirky. There's some little tiny quirk that they're not giving them that is the key. Kind of like I was just talking about with the Neostylopica. I think it's moisture, and I'm going to take steps to try and give them more moisture while it's 50% relative humidity right now. Most excitingly in that batch of Hawaiian incumbent roaches is Caridiid that I have long lusted for. I remember 2010, 2011 seeing the pictures of it in a couple of web pages that had pictures of the adults and some blurbs about their life history and whatnot, and just being captivated. It was like, oh, it's such a cute and awesome roach, and we'll never get it in a billion years, but we could because somebody could go to Hawaii and blah blah. So it's been long lingering in here and hoping desperately that we would get an opportunity to work with them, and now we do. And then it's Euthyrhappa Pacifica, the Pacific cockroach, adorable little Caridiid that is black and orange. It's fuzzy. It's day active. The adults pollinate flowers. I think Jihu had made some observations that they like to come out before and during, after or during rains. And so he's got a small group of them that he has been accumulating. As he goes out, he just grabs them as he finds them and puts them into a culture. And he's got some ooths in there, and it's just wonderful that we could have that species after so long. And it's a beautiful species. It's very similar to the Eucharidia, which people really enjoy. The only problem is, unlike Eucharidia, Euthyrhappa seem completely psychotic, like very fast, very fly-y. So trade-offs for their cuteness and their beauty. They're also a little bit smaller than I expected, which hopefully works in the favor of they may be faster reproducing. But I don't think Jihu's gotten too many ooths out of them, so I'm very happy about that. I think there were a couple of other species that he's finding that I can't quite recall. I think there was like a Balta species or something like that. So those are, they're in the wings waiting for better weather when he can ship from tropical Hawaii to not so tropical Alabama or not so tropical Michigan. So that's exciting for the future. More direct things. I checked on my Lynxoblata rudis today, which I think I had gone into depth over in the last live stream about the despair of they were doing okay, doing better than okay in a smaller setup. I moved them into a 10-gallon that was decked out with all kinds of multi-surfaces for them, and I was excited for them to do well. And then I lost several males, and they didn't seem to be doing good. And I was hoping it's stress related, just losing the males because they're more flimsy and feeble than the adult females or the nymphs, all this stuff. So there's a bunch of reasons that I suspected that they were just sort of dropping off in the new enclosure. Checked them today. I found one or two more dead adult males, which made me very upset. But the rest of the other individuals that I could locate were looking good, including a freshly molted adult female. So I was very happy to see that. And then the nymphs that were in there were also in excellent shape, very plump, and including the smaller ones. And so I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed and just give it time and try not to mess with them and just keep up on the feeding and watering schedule. And then hopefully I'll look in there in a couple of months, and there'll be some new nymphs that have popped up, and then I can just wait for a Lee effect and hope that they do very well, because I do like that species, even if we do have Fortioca. Was it Fortioca? Yeah. What else? Things doing well, things doing not well. My Trinus, can't remember what species is, the very teeny tiny whip spider, Trinus acosta, seems to be full of eggs. She hasn't excreted them yet, but she seems to be full of them. So that's good. Or she's going to molt. I have no idea how big the eventual adult size is going to be on that. She's already big tiny, where it's like this. She looks like she has the proportions of what could be a sexually mature individual, but I'm not familiar enough with the species to make that claim. So I'm sitting on my hands and wait. What else? Ghost mantids hatched, not that exciting. Rhino roaches. I may have brought that up last week, though. I checked on them today. They're doing very well. So I might be making. Damon Diadema are doing well. Alan, they have molted to. When I checked 2 or 3 days ago, I had somewhere molted 2-3i, and now I just got fingers crossed for more of them too. I don't think I'm going to have any problems with the rest of them. I'm feeding them fruit flies and just sort of waiting. So Damon are doing well. I have so much stuff to put away. I haven't actually done maintenance on my 6-quart isopod containers since July. Hello, Jeff, and welcome. Yeah, I'm rambling. I have been inclined to do that more and more over the streams. I do pop in and try to do some emails and some site work, but it's also nice to just talk to people and whatnot. They are not all spoken for, Mysterious AB. So if you want to send me an email after the new year, they should be getting ready to go. I think, as I have been doing with a lot of my roach pricing, due to not just the demand but the lack of other people working with roaches, or at least producing good numbers of different roaches, I will be raising the price on those pretty soon from $250 a pair to $300 a pair. So, but anyway, since you asked now, you got your foot in the door. So just remind me when you message me to give you the old price that I had on them. I'll get around to checking on that eventually. So that's good, because that was that pair's first litter, and my old pair that produced a lot of my litters before kicked the bucket a year and a half ago. So I'm happy to know that my husbandry is still good, and that things that are not everything which is broken cannot be fixed. So that was very good. Panethia are all doing well, and Caudelia are doing well. Grylus are all doing well. I think I had a blog post go up about the Grylus, what I thought were Firmus, but then they redid the taxonomy, and they're doing not just calls but geographic location, and they're taking into consideration whether or not the eggs are diapausing or not, which is like, how can you use that as a field character, when there's overlap into each other? It's just a big mess. So I have what I thought was Grylus firmus. They're probably not Grylus firmus because of unless there's some disjunct populations. There's some sort of cool non-egg diapausing Grylus species from Nebraska. So I want to keep collecting Grylus. I really like Grylus a lot, and I think there's something there where people can pick a colony that has a nice call and keep it as sort of like a summer year-round indoors type of thing, because not everybody likes the sound of Grylotes. Kim Wisman in particular, older bug and herptile savant, despises the sound of Grylotes sigillatus, which reminds me, I need to bring him some Grylus CF assimilis to the expo this weekend, so I need to send myself a reminder. I'm going to pester Will and tell him that I need to pack some stuff. Oh, that's at the back door. Victor's probably spotted something and he's letting me know. Bush crickets. Let's crack those open right now, shall we? So these are some really cool. I'm going to go get my headlamp real quick, actually. Come in, Victor. Well, I like my headlamp down there. Yeah. Oh, really good. Yeah. Perfect. Yep. Just what I wanted. Oh, that's fine. They pop up in the regular colonies anyways. Victor's coming to say hi. Will is, as I was trying to stumble through earlier, also Victor is, Vic, do you want to say hi to people on the live stream? Maybe that's Victor. Where's people? Yeah, they like you. They like puppers. Samson says you're the best part of the live stream when you pop up. Yeah. So Will is currently doing some maintenance downstairs. And as I was trying to say is I haven't actually done maintenance on a lot of my small isopod cultures since July. It's the last time I recorded doing maintenance on them. Oh, you want to play, don't you? I can't play. I'm on the stream. He will melt your heart with those cute little eyes. Oh, he looks like a little crazy psycho dog right now. Yeah. So this is as I finish the thought with the isopods. Haven't done maintenance since July on them, so it's been 5 months. But I deck those containers out with all kinds of decomposing material and whatnot. So I would say about 65% of my containers that I set up still have isopods in them. Some cultures are actually thriving despite not having any maintenance since July. I've just been so busy with everything else, and there's like hundreds of those 6-quart containers. So I just said I'll just take care of it when I switch things over to the new enclosures. I will answer some of the chat questions in a moment. I'm going to check on these bush crickets, and hopefully nothing escapes or causes me any issues. These are Taphiliska eleuthera. They are found on mangrove leaves and whatnot in the Florida Keys in southern Florida. They're really weird because they're bush or tree crickets, but they like burrow into things and they hide underneath stuff. This is the enclosure. They seem to eat dog food and fish flakes and just typical cricket stuff when offered to them. But in the wild, they eat various plant matter, especially the mangroves, white and red mangroves, I think. So I just gave them a little bit of everything, just in case, because we only had about 5 of these. I'm gonna see if I can find one. Pop this on. Hopefully, not get one jumping in my face. It's possible they burrowed in. They could be hiding in the pine cones. Oh, there's one. Oh, this is the one that had the bum leg, too, so this is a good one to show off, I guess. And there it goes. So they have ridiculously long antennae, too. Really cool crickets. Not the easiest to find. I'm going to pick it up, and it's... Oh, there it goes. Turn this bad boy off so I don't blind anybody. So I'm going to just show it off as briefly as possible. Ah! This is one with only one jumping leg. Ah! Oh, here we go. Taphiliska eleuthera. This one's only about maybe like, how much bigger are they going to get? It's less than half grown. It's probably got like 3 more instars. They get quite sizable I've considered sort of forcing the common name of Florida false weta because they are quite intimidating and weta-like. So yeah, so Alan, they're doing well. It's very difficult to keep constant tabs on them, but they get sprayed a couple times a day if I feel like it. They've got the vegetation as a food and water source. I can only locate those two right now, but like I said, there's so much stuff just packed into here that I fear losing some of them if I keep finagling around. Oh, there's one buried in here in the corner underneath some of the mulch. So they could be just about anywhere in this enclosure. But really cool. You have to go out at night to find them. And again, they're the Florida Keys, or South Florida endemic. So, and the antennae, I don't know if it might not show up on here. I'm going to try and you might be able to see just how ridiculously long it is. In the adults, it can be like 2 to 3 times the length of the body. It's just crazy, really cool. Again, because of my soft spot for orthopterans, I'm trying to culture these. I actually got babies from the set that I collected when we went on the Florida trip in March. The problem was I set them up in a mesh cage and I gave them some sand and whatnot to lay into, because not knowing that not being a tree or bush cricket, not knowing if they lay their eggs under bark, if they lay it in the soil, if they lay them inside of sticks or something. There's all kinds of weird strategies. Even things that have very similar looking ovipositors can have extremely different egg laying strategies. So I just put that in there because it made sense that they might oviposit into soil. So, So I had this cup with sand, coconut fiber in it, just sitting for, I don't know, for months. And it got dry, and then I was like, oh, that's too dry. I should put more water into it. And then it got dry again. And it's like, oh, overwater it. And at some point, I kind of forgot what was in there. I didn't label it, but I kind of knew what it was. And I put it on my kitchen sink by the window. And I just left it there, and I was just keeping an eye on it. And then one day, and I usually have cuttings of plants in the windowsill and whatnot, I saw a little cricket crawling around about that big that was jet black. And this was in around maybe mid or late September. And I looked at it and I thought, where did this come from? This is a weird time of year to be seeing baby crickets of this size. And then my brain put 2 and 2 together. Oh, some of the eggs hatched and they went onto the cuttings and they ate some of the cuttings. That's why this thing has been growing, blah, blah. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to get any from that set. I wasn't able to salvage any. I can't remember what I did with the one individual that I found, and they put into communal something or other. So anyways, here's another shot. Now I know, okay, egg cups, okay, it's going to be a long incubation period, okay. So we'll see what happens. And they're not difficult to find. Catching them is kind of a pain. You just have to know where they are, go to that place at the right time, and then put the time into finding them. It's not like something like a rare euphoria or cottonus or something in Arizona where it's for all intents and purposes pretty random whether or not you're going to encounter them, even if it's the right time of year and conditions and whatnot. So let me take a moment to go and look at the chat here and answer some stuff. Which roaches were you talking about at AB? Oh, those were the Macropenestia rhinoceros, the giant rhino roaches. The cone heads in your locality were massive this year. We don't get a lot of cone heads up here. I thoroughly enjoy seeing them. I love seeing large orthopterans in Michigan because they look so tropical, even though that means here that it's fall and it's going to be winter soon. But I for the longest time really wanted to find, I think it's conocephalus or neoconocephalus are the bigger ones. And I found a marsh by my house in Dearborn by the combined sewer overflow where there's a bunch of natural area where you can very reliably find neoconocephalus. And it took me a couple of years into being into orthopterans to sort of find that spot, and then also kind of have an eye for other spots that they might like. So I went to the trouble of going out at night and all that stuff to find Neoconocephalus, and found that spot. I was like, cool, I found the spot. This is something I've always wanted to see. Oh, this is so rare in my area, blah, blah. And then the next year on the Austrian pines, Will, if you're there, Austrian pines will be dead in 30 years. The Austrian...
I love our tract housing for upper middle class people that destroys all of the native wildlife and plants.
This is Will, everyone.
How's it
going? We haven't done one of these live streams together before.
Nope.
But he's been on Russ's live stream. We did one with pseudoscorpions, where we looked at a bunch of stuff that Will's really into. Will is a pseudoscorpion man. He's into lots of teeny tiny things. Let me get you a chair real quick. You want to introduce yourself? I won't do all the talking for you.
All right. How's it going, everybody? So I'm Will. Kyle and I have known each other for about almost a decade now.
Known each other for too long was the right answer. Yeah. Oh, the whole family's here. Here you go. Find a way to squeeze you in. Sorry, Victor. You're too big. You don't have the right morphology to use chairs. So,
hey.
I'm gonna hit up a couple of these other things real quick. Yeah. So the Kona is basically, I heard one singing in an Austrian pine, a really crappy off the side of the road near my parents' house place, where I thought, oh, this is entirely the wrong habitat. I would never see one here, and I ended up hearing it there. So I was kind of disappointed that the magic was ruined for me after that. But
what are we talking about?
I think I'm going to get this straight. If it's Neoconocephalus or Conocephalus.
Oh, orthops.
It's Neoconocephalus. Conocephalus are the tinier ones, tinier cone heads. Heading to an expo this week and myself in Lebanon, Pennsylvania. New location for the show, but it started well and growing. Yeah, there's been a lot of splintering of reptile shows lately, I've noticed. I'm not sure what the inner politics are behind that. Real quick, AB says, where do you source your bins? Those are all painstakingly bought at the local pet supplies.
Petco, Pet Supplies Plus.
Pet Needs, etc. is a little store by my parents' house.
I think it's the Pet Supplies Plus.
Pet Supplies Plus.
We usually clean them out about once a week. I'm same with the 10 gallons.
The problem with ordering a lot of them is the manufacturer for those has a strict policy of selling to brick and mortar establishments of various sorts. I've contacted them before trying to order a large number of them, and they haven't done it. Maybe in the future if I reach out through another department or whatever. But I have sort of skirted this issue because I know I sell a lot of bugs to a pet store locally, and they're willing to buy the enclosures at the cheaper price and then swap me for inventory or payment or whatever. So I'm happy about that. So yeah, Will, first time on the live stream.
Yep, probably won't be the last.
Won't be the last. So yeah, trying to think what else. I'm not used to. I'm used to looking at this and rambling and not.
Yeah, it's a bit weird for me too, because I try to look here and then read the chat, and then I find myself looking at you again, like it's the live stream with Russ all over again.
Yeah. Speaking of live stream with Russ, it did go well. I already touched on it earlier. How that whole thing went. We're gonna do another one too. Oh, what did we decide? Bioactive feeder enclosures. So people wanted to keep roaches, various feeder organisms in biologically active enclosures. Which for me, I don't even think about that because it's just how I do everything nowadays. So, real quick, Will, how about you tell us about your revelations with those communal pseudoscorpions?
Oh yeah, so Peritinoides nidificer. The Latin name's a bit weird to pronounce.
I'll look it up because you can talk and I can look stuff up.
But they're a social, species of pseudoscorpions. So males, females, young, they all live together in little silken chambers. And I've had some success with them in the past, or where they would just kind of like persist, but not really reproduce. And I got some imports from a friend of mine who recently came back from a trip to Florida. And I kind of just decided, like, he sent them to me in like little, specimen vials with a little piece of bark in there, and the bark was like wedged in tight. I'm like, I'm just gonna leave this colony be, try something new out, and I put the rest into the setup, which I usually do for that species, which is a 32-ounce deli cup with a plaster of Paris base to keep humidity in. And something strange happened in that the ones that I just left in the container actually ended up doing way better than the ones that I put into the setup that I, usually do. So yesterday I basically had to like scramble to, get all the ones that I put into the first container into the new setup. So once they get going and they start reproducing, I think I'm going to start messing around again with the 32-ounce containers, and just basically shove sheets of bark onto the edge and fasten them in place, and that way they can have a nice tight surface to feel protected in. And a benefit of that actually is you get to see the the interactions between the individuals in the colony, and I kind of had some semblance of idea of how it worked from a paper that I read on the subject. But what I noticed that I don't think they mentioned in the paper is in addition to like hunting and defense, the males.
Oh, you were calling them Peritonides elongatus before.
Yeah, that one was synonymized with the Central American species.
The nidificator. That's a name. That's a fun name.
Yeah.
Nidificator.
But anyways, the males, each silken chamber has like a little entry and exit way for individuals to get in and out of the chamber and interact with each other. But what I've noticed is during kind of like daylight hours, the males stand either out or directly outside the little silken chambers, or right at the entrance of the chambers as a means of protecting the juveniles and the females. And it's really fascinating. I have a photo of them up on my Instagram account. You care if I plug that?
Yes, I do care. No, what is it? I can put it right here.
Yeah, I think it's Mainstream Hipster 94. Yeah. I created the Instagram account back when I was in college, before I actually got into invertebrate husbandry. And I just never bothered changing the name, even though I'm able to. I'm just like, nah, it's a part of my history.
I'm going to go let him out. Yeah. So you continue plugging your situation, your beautiful social pseudoscorpions that I still need to get a chance with, other than the ones that desiccated on the way home from Florida.
Yeah, that's another thing that I've kind of realized about that species is if they're not full-grown adults, they are highly susceptible to desiccation, especially, subadults, freshly hatched up juveniles. So that I would say is one of the more tricky species of pseudoscorpions. I also have a website, willsbugroom.com. That's kind of where I sell pseudoscorpions, other small invertebrates, small beetles. I think the most interesting beetle I have right now is rice weevils, which I'm pretty sure is like the only breedable weevil in captivity. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, I do all sorts of small things. Basically, if it's under an inch long, that's kind of my specialty. I'm currently working with a bunch of like soil invertebrates, trying to get featherwing beetles to culture in captivity. Eventually, I want to give coneheads, which are a more basal hexapod, a try, but I've been unable to find them in Michigan, which is a problem because a lot of like the small stuff, it's found up in like, higher latitudes, but it's not necessarily abundant. So yeah, that's basically what I do. And I help Kyle out, seems like every weekday nowadays, but yeah, kind of ran out of things to talk about. See, come back soon? God, I hope so. Oh yeah, Alan. I still have those Zoraptorans you gave me. Those are doing good. I saw one of the reproductives not too long ago, which are really cool because you can kind of the reproductives tend to be a lot more darker with a more hardened exoskeleton, and then the immatures, and I forget the ins and outs of the the social structure, but they're kind of eusocial, kind of not. It's weird, but they are really cool. We have, I think, 2 species in the continental United States. The one Kyle and I are both currently keep is Zorotypus hubbardii, and that one we found on our most recent collecting trip in Florida. So those are really cool. Let's see, caught 2 from Ocola on a recent trip, so I'm hoping to establish a colony. Did you lose your colony, or did you give it away, or what happened? Because obviously you were the guy I got mine from, so. Oh boy. Kind of awkward. Oh, thank God you're back.
Well, you can keep talking about pseudoscorpions forever. You'll talk my ear off about them, but not other people's.
I mean, it's different when there's like another person in the physical space as opposed to just kind of like talking to a screen.
You got a subscriber to your website, Will.
Sweet.
Ta-da. I think I spelled your Instagram stuff right, probably.
Let me. Well, considering I just got a follower on Instagram, I spelled it right.
Oh, Alan was asked about your Raptorans.
Yeah, I was just talking about that.
Our the hubbardii
yeah.
are doing well. I have the 2 cultures, the one that might have been sold and waiting for somebody to respond, and then the main one, both doing well. It seems as long as wood's involved, they're good.
Wood and some sort of fungus.
Filthy chicken feed.
Yeah.
Scenario where we mix the chicken feed in with the wood pellets, and they did really well.
Yeah, and then they also seem to do really well on what was it, pink oyster mushroom?
Oh yeah, that's what you tried. What was it? Alan might know. Is it kinishi? It's not kinchi. It's kinishi or something. It's basically making that for raising the Zoraptor, whatever the beetle flake soil beginner process thing is.
I don't know.
Kai was telling me where they mix. You just take wood pellets or wood kinchi. There you go. Wood pellets and mix it with flour and just let it rot and get disgusting, and it makes like perfect beetle substrate.
Yeah, so. I kind of did something similar for my springtails, where I just mixed up oats and potting soil, and or oats decompose, and they love that. I got a really big population bloom of Tomoceras, and they just kind of died off because I wasn't really interested in keeping them long term. So
new here. What's your preference on springtail cultures? Day or charcoal? I've been keeping them on charcoal for years for my frogs and thinking of switching. Oh, stay on charcoal. Stay on charcoal. Depends. Some stuff like the large whites do really well on charcoal. Tropical pinks, not so much. A lot of the fancier stuff that I stock nowadays does not do well on charcoal. I think it was kind of a matter of whoever was trying to culture springtails for their frogs first collected some, and Philosomia Canada or whatever that species is just everywhere. And they threw them on charcoal because they read about it in some old publication or whatever. And then they got results. And like, okay, so this is how you raise springtails, all of them. But you won't have good luck raising things like Tomoceras or Willosia or Entomobria, or actually TJ just told me about, there's a species that's been everywhere this year, and I had assumed that it was a species of Entomobria. And TJ brought, and I couldn't find any Entomobria that perfectly matched it. So I just thought, it's Midwest variant, or I'm not looking at the right characters, or it's the lighting, or it's the life stage.
Oh, is this the one we found at that one rest stop?
No, this is the one that's literally everywhere. That's like when you've gone out to look for springtails.
The kind of green.
And I look
one.
at it and I'm like, this is Entomobria. Well, I don't think it is Entomobria anymore. I think it's this other thing, which is, it's still all over the place. I don't even use. Oh, it's okay. I don't even use clay for stuff. I know there was a big push for, like clay pudding or whatever they're calling it, and raising them. But the thing is, if you track those sites and look at like availability and whatnot, some things like the zebra springtails that they say really like that clay stuff have not been available for like 2 years. So it's more about the air humidity. A lot of springtails like dry, well ventilated air and somewhere moist to retreat to. And if you don't give them that, they will crash pretty hard and fast, either because they get out competed by mites or it's just not the conditions that they're adapted to. I really want to find out. It had a really kind of catchy name. I'm trying to figure out what the heck it was. Hamidia socia. That is the species that I think has been everywhere this year because of they seem to like a moister than things like the Orchicellas, which have been just nowhere to be found. I can't even restart my colonies because I can't find Orchicella cincta or villosa anywhere. Hamidia socia. I'm pretty sure. Doesn't that look more spot on? So these Hamidia socia, I do have a good culture of them going currently. Here's a claim that they feed on pollen and play an important role as a pollinator. I feel like that might be a little over-exaggerating what they do, considering they're usually down the leaf litter, but maybe in really moist weather, they'll be up climbing on stuff.
I can't think of a single time I've seen a springtail on a flower.
Like I said, if it's really moist, they'll start crawling up and around, like on a moist day after rain during the summertime when it's overcast and the sun's not beating down on them.
Or it could be one of those times where it's like, early spring and you get the first spring flowers coming up. Then I could maybe see it, but
so it depends on what species. You'll probably end up just raising the large whites on charcoal. Small silvers, maybe.
Small silvers, I just chuck them in on cocoa fiber and put some cardboard in there and they're good to go.
My first tropical pinks were actually a charcoal culture, but then when I moved them in with roaches and stuff, they just did so well I never bothered with it again. I didn't seem to do very well on on charcoal. So
they just kind of seem to persist.
Ooh, Hylas says, I see springtails on flowers quite frequently. Yeah, so I guess it depends on where you're at and what the conditions are like. There are also thrips. Thrips are very similar to springtails, and they do actually they are actually flower feeding. So they're very small. They don't jump. They have very similar morphology to springtails. But yeah, so you may be seeing thrips, but I wouldn't doubt if they were springtails. So yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else. This isn't bad springtail weather. Let's see what the weather is supposed to be like in a couple of days.
Probably chaotic as usual.
Oh boy, Saturday's supposed to be 60 Fahrenheit. And rainy, 45 Sunday, 49 Monday, 59 on Wednesday, 59 Thursday. Holy. This is great springtail weather, though. If it becomes moist and then dries out, it's good. But also springtails, okay. Yeah, so it could be. But I've never actually seen chlamydia or anything on it around. I mean, maybe you see weird stuff in weird places all the time if you look around enough. I mean, they crawl up the trunks of trees and all that stuff when it's rainy. So I wouldn't doubt they would crawl up flowers too. So. Yeah. Anybody else got any particular questions or thoughts on anything? I may wrap things up a bit early because I'm quite tired, and with the expo on Saturday, I'm kind of eager to get back to finishing husbandry and doing some packing at the same time. But if there's any other questions or inquiries and whatnot, wouldn't call them important pollinators. Yeah, that the whole pollinator thing implies that they have to get the pollen from one flower and then in a timely manner before while the pollen is still viable, they have to crawl pretty much directly over to yet another flower of the same species or that is compatible and to deposit the pollen exactly where it needs to go. So I feel like that might be a little bit of a grandiose statement, but I mean, it could happen. Actually, there's a big thing on springtails being agents of basically pollination for mosses, how they're attracted to certain chemicals that the sporophyte, the gametophyte moss. Let me see which part so I don't sound dumb. That the sporophyte, I was correct. They're attracted to the sporophyte of mosses and other non-vascular plants, and they will actually move. I can't remember how non-vascular plants swap their genetic material, but they
just wait for rain, and then the raindrop hits the sporophyte.
Well, what they're saying here is that they will actually, under less ideal conditions, the springtails will actually crawl between sporophytes and basically pollinate stuff without the moss having to do that. So
I believe it.
So it's basically like the first pollination relationship may have been between non-insect hexapods and mosses and bryophytes. Thanks for the info, since I use them for restocking bibs and feeding baby frogs. So something that I think a lot of people should have on hand is a pooter or an aspirator, if you're lame and want to call it that. But a pooter is a little device that you either suck into or has a little squeezy thingy, what do they call it? It's like a bladder pump or whatever.
Yeah, or if you're really fancy, they have ones that you blow into and then...
Oh, that is really fancy.
Yeah, like some physics thing happens and
it
sucks the invertebrate into the containment
Or
chamber.
they have the ones that are battery operated or whatever. But anyway,
or your deli cup one.
Yeah, or the deli cup ones that I make, and we give creative names to. Anyway, so you use the aspirator and you can just suck the springtails out of a culture, even if it's not charcoal or whatever. You can just suck the springtails out of the culture and then into the little collection canister and then dump them where you need them to go.
I will say this though, overall I don't like the charcoal method, period.
Mm-hmm.
Like cocoa fiber, a hide, keep it moist.
That was the other thing, is usually what I do when I collect them for orders, especially at the Sinella, if I'm not using the an aspirator or a pooter, if I'm not using the pooter, then I will, a lot of things like Sinella will crawl up onto bark. So you can just tap the bark over wherever you need to move it. You put a bunch of pieces of bark in contact with the soil in the springtail culture. You need to go get springtails, lift the bark, tap it off where you need to go, put the bark back, and, that's that. So, I'm glad you're enjoying the streams. It makes me want to go longer today, but like I said, I'm quite tired at this recurring theme. But I will say that I think next week's stream is going to be a giveaway. So spread the word. I don't know what I'm going to do. I have baby Rhino Roaches. I don't know if I want to go giving away a pair without an additional amount of fanfare and whatnot for that particular stream. But maybe not. I'll find something. So
with Consafarium.
I could give away Concertarium. Okay, let's do that. We'll do a Christmas with Concertarium. We'll do a Christmas with Simon Doa Concertarium giveaway next week.
Why did I have to say that?
I do like keeping it quiet when I'm going to do, though, because then that encourages people who don't know what they could be getting to pop in and hang out and stick around and see what they're going to find. So,
it's not like you have any shortage of roaches in the basement.
There is no shortage of roaches in the basement. So maybe we'll do 2 giveaways next week. Maybe. Well, I'll look into it. We'll be a giveaway. Have 3 winners. Yeah. So it'll be a giveaway next week. Just a matter of what will be the sub and how many will be the subject of my pensiveness over the next week. So, with that being said, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you, Will, for coming and sharing some pseudoscorpion knowledge. Again, this will not be Will's last stream here. He will return.
Yep.
Um,
And then at some point, I'll probably get my own Will's Bug Room
There
YouTube
you
channel
go.
actually up and running. So I'll probably be plugging that in the near future.
and then I can be a guest on your stream and vice versa.
Oh, that's
Great.
cute. Implying I'm popular enough to be a live streamer.
We got 10 people right now, and the chat's been very active. So I this makes me quite happy.
It's very comfy.
It does make me want to stay longer, but also I have to do as Alan says, you sell bug now, so I have to fight the urges not to sell bug and whatnot. But anyways, thank you everybody for joining us. I will see now kiss. I will see everybody next week Thursday. Giveaway. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, etc., etc. And with that being said, may your cultures ever be bountiful, and see you all around.
Bye, everybody.
Well, I'm about to leave page instead of end straight. There we go. Awkward.